So starting this test drive in the Enclave Premium here, the V6 is a pretty decent engine to go with this 9-speed automatic in a vehicle this big. I would love to see a performance-oriented turbo V6, but I just don't know if that's going to be a possibility. I don't know who would buy them, but it'd just be neat to have. But so far, pretty smooth. Acceleration is pretty good. Now this only has 20 miles on it, so I'm not going to floor it getting on the interstate, but I'm going to give it a little bit of gas. And I'll actually put it into low gear. And I'm going to see how quickly it shifts. Again, not necessarily thrashing it. So shifts are relatively responsive, specifically downshifts in this low gear here. Now you can't use the paddles unless you are in the low gear, because in drive here, as you can see, it's not letting me do anything. I don't know what this person is doing, but the adaptive cruise is on there. And then we do have the lane keeping system on as well. So the lane keeping system isn't a lane tracing system like you get in some vehicles. All this does is just kind of ping you in and out as you start to go out the lines. So kind of like Chrysler's Lane Sense. Not like Nissan's ProPilot or Ford's Co-Pilot. But still a pretty good system for what it is. Now if you want that semi-autonomous feel, you can of course get Super Cruise on select GM models, which is a fantastic semi-autonomous driving system. But ride, of course, is very smooth. It is a Buick and it's the top of the line Enclave. Gas pedal feels good, brake pedal feels great. Now, one of the coolest things about these rear camera mirrors that they're putting in vehicles is it really gives you, you know, you always want to do a blind spot check, in my opinion, but it's just crazy how you have all these additional safety features that we didn't have when I was learning how to drive. So as long as my blind spot monitor isn't going off and I can see the vehicles kind of behind me in the rear camera mirror, it just gives you, again, an extra layer of protection if you didn't want to do a head check and just use the turn signal and get over, because you can see if they're in that mirror there, they're far enough behind you where you can get over. And of course, you can kind of see how fast the vehicle's going behind you, things of that nature. So it's a cool feature to have. And again, you kind of have just an ease of driving, especially on more open road, where you don't necessarily have to break your neck for visibility. And the visibility in these is still very good, in my opinion, for a 3-row SUV. But again, on top of that, having the blind spot monitors, having the rear camera mirror, and it just makes highway driving that much easier with all these features, on top of having the adaptive cruise and the lane keeping system. You just kind of have to stay awake. Now for the money, I think it's a very good option, specifically if you like having a naturally aspirated engine that you're not worrying about getting fixed over the years. It's just a simple, tried and true engine that GM's had for at least a decade, a little over a decade at least. I know it was in the first Camaros, having this 3.6 liter V6. It's just easy to work on, easier to work on, let me put it that way, and it has the power that you need for everyday driving. It's not as much fun to drive as maybe a turbocharged engine, but reliability wise and then just maintenance wise, it's one less thing you have to worry about. And if you're getting a Buick Enclave, you're probably not going to want to be racing anybody or taking it to the track. So you get a little better fuel economy and you're still able to hold 7 people comfortably. Now, I would like to see an interior refresh, which we might see here soon. On this Enclave, this is fine, but I kind of want something like the Cadillac Lyriq, where you kind of have that kind of curved screen. That'd be pretty neat. But still a good SUV for the money, especially if you plan on keeping it. And this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2024 Buick Enclave Premium with all-wheel drive.